Hey, what's up guys? Jason here, and in this tutorial, I'm going to give you a full A to Z live walkthrough of how you can land B2B clients with cold email. Now, it is 3 a.m. over here when I'm making this video. My girlfriend thinks I went to sleep 2 hours ago, but I just had to stay up and make this video for you guys. So if you appreciate the hustle, you appreciate the sacrifice, then definitely give this video a thumbs up and subscribe because I'm going to be dropping a ton more value throughout the rest of the week. So let's get into it. Now, in this example, let's just assume that the client is a digital marketing agency selling PPC services to plumbers, and PPC meaning Facebook ads or Google ads. And in this video, I'm going to go over quite a few things. So finding the leads, verifying the leads, writing the copy, setting up the campaign instantly, campaign KPIs, and then also the nitty gritty ROI breakdown. So I'm going to be covering quite a few things. It's probably going to be my longest video yet, but there's going to be a ton of value. So definitely watch until the end. Now, when it comes to finding the leads, there's a few ways to do this. The easiest way for me these days is just using Apollo.io. So the way I would do this is you can go over to Apollo. I'd start off with companies. And Apollo.io is essentially just a business directory or a business database. And the way I would do this, let me just clear all these filters. I'd start off here in the companies tab. So go here, search for plumbing, and show all companies matching plumbing. So what I'm trying to do now is I'm just trying to find a company that matches our target profile. So let's say, for instance, like we can do these guys. So I pull them up, and as you can see, they have a ton of different keywords here. So plumbing, sewer repair, residential plumbing, commercial plumbing, sump pump replacement, faucet repair and replacement. So what I would do honestly is I would use the plumbing related keywords like plumbing, residential plumbing, commercial plumbing, sewer cleaning, etc. If you use construction or home services, yeah, you're going to get plumbing companies, but you're also going to get a ton of other random companies as well, right? You're going to get like kitchen and bathroom modelers, you're going to get painters, home services, like you're just going to get a ton of things. So just use the plumbing related keywords. And the way I would do this is if you're trying to go after plumbing companies, then use as many of these plumbing related keywords as possible so you can get as many prospects as possible. But just to keep this a really quick and dirty live tutorial, I'm just going to use plumbing. So go over here, company keywords, plumbing, boom. Okay, and that's going to give us all the plumbing related companies in Apollo. Now, the next thing I would do is I would filter by account location. And I mean, you don't have to do this, but I personally like to, just that way I can keep my lead list a little bit more segmented. For instance, when you're reaching out to US based plumbing companies, you can say, hey, we help US based plumbing companies, or we help Canadian based plumbing companies. So it's a little bit more personalized because you've already segmented your list. And the other reason to do this is you can also compare the campaign performance. If you see that, okay, Canadian plumbing companies are actually performing twice as well as my campaign for US based plumbing companies, then I should just double down on the Canadian market. All right, so that's another reason to keep your lead list segmented. Now, the next thing I would do is I would go to employees. And with employees, if I'm doing, let's say, B2B SaaS or reaching out to consulting firms, what I typically do is 11 to 20, 21 to 50, and 51 to 100. And the reason for this is if you're working with companies that are in the 1 to 10 range, these companies, oh God, okay, just whatever. These companies, they typically don't have case studies, they don't have their ICP, aka they don't know their exact target customer and their offer yet. They're still working on it. And a lot of times, because they're a small company, they just straight up, they don't have money to pay you, right? They can't afford your services. So I like to work with slightly bigger companies. However, because plumbing is a local service-based business, there's going to be a ton of really small companies that are 1 to 10, and that's perfectly fine. So for this example, I would just do 1 to 10, 11 to 20, and 21 to 50. Now, my computer sucks, so it's not really responding. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to close this. I'll go over to the next tab. So once you have all those plumbing companies loaded up, then you click on the People tab here. And what that's going to do is, as you see, I have all these settings loaded up here. And the way you search for the prospects inside these companies is just through job title. So for this particular example, I would do partner, owner, CEO, president, VP, manager, and founder. And that's going to give us 19,000 prospects that you can see. And when it comes to these prospects, there's a few ways to get the data from Apollo. So you can use the Apollo export feature, which is just access email. you can use the Find Email Chrome extension, or the quick and dirty way to do it is just using Instant Data Scraper plus LeadRocks. And all three of these methods, they have their own pros and cons, but for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to go over how to use Instant Data Scraper plus LeadRocks. So what you do here is you pull up the Instant Data Scraper Chrome extension, and it is free, right? And as the name suggests, all it does is just instantly scrape all the data here from this table. So with Apollo, it's only going to show you 25 prospects at a time. That's why we need Instant Data Scraper. So I like to set this to 2 seconds, and then you just hit start crawling. So what it's going to do is it's going to scrape 25 records at a time. Then it's automatically going to hit the next button for you. Okay, let me increase this. Start crawling. Then it's automatically going to hit the next button for you. And then it's going to load the next page and then scrape the next 25, right? Click next, load the next page, scrape the next 25. It's not working right now because my computer is just being really slow, but let's just assume for the purpose of this tutorial that it was actually working. So what I do is I download the CSV, right? Give it a second. I'm gonna open this up. Okay, give me a second, guys. I'm gonna pause the video. All right, we're back. So with the Instant Data Scraper CSV, you're going to get a ton of random data. So what you need to do before you upload it to LeadRocks is just clean it up as I've already done here, right? So I've just kept a few columns, so name, LinkedIn, title, company, and that's honestly all you need. So hit save, and I go over to LeadRocks, right? And what you would do is go to the enrichment tab. And if you're going to use LeadRocks, they do have an AppSumo lifetime deal right now, so make sure you go grab that on the AppSumo App Store. So I would pick a CSV file. I go with this one. Start enrichment. And then as you can see, 8 emails and 2 phone numbers. So the 2 phone numbers, they're going to be really handy if you're going to be cold calling, cold SMS. But in this case, we're just interested in the 8 emails. So after that, I'll click save to list. So let's just do it like this. Save list. Right. Export list to CSV. And now that that's done, we have our first list of prospects. Now, it is very important that you keep in mind these are just raw email accounts. They haven't been verified yet. So what we need to do is go over to an email verification software, and I typically use 2 options. Option number 1 is bulk email checker, which is super cheap. And option number 2 is email list validation. And this has actually been my favorite these days just because it's really quick and it's also really cheap. Plus, they have a lifetime deal on AppSumo right now. So what I do is drag it over here, import from file, right? And then just click start verification. And then it's going to tell you which emails are valid, which emails are undeliverable. And you just click new export. Maximum deliverability, right? You only want this one. And the reason you do this is you want to keep your bounce rate low because a lot of these emails that you scrape, they're just going to be, undeliverable. They're going to be risky. And if you have a high bounce rate, what that's going to do is that's actually going to hurt your deliverability of your email campaigns or your domains. So definitely keep the bounce rate low, right? Verify your leads. And the other thing is if you have a ton of invalid emails, let's say you launch an email campaign and you have like a 30% bounce rate, then you won't be able to read the campaign data, right? Because let's say you have like a 20% open rate, but you have a 30% bounce rate, then you don't actually know what it is, right? Is it because like your emails were bouncing, or is it because you didn't have the right subject line, or is it because, I don't know, like just whatever, right? You need to have a clean list. Otherwise the campaign data you get back, it just won't be readable. So yeah, definitely don't skip this step. So that's where verifying leads. Next step is writing the copy. And the way I like to do this is I like to A/B test 2 to 3 angles at a time. So some angles to use is you can do a case study or value-based angle. You can do a direct offer, or you can do question-based angle. And I typically follow this structure below. So hi first name, then I'll do a quick first line, offer, soft call to action, and then best sending account name. And the way this syntax works is the sending account name essentially means that whatever the account name is, and instantly it's just going to use that name. So if the email account name is John, then it's going to say best John. If the sending account name is Peter, it's going to say best Peter. And with subject line, honestly, just do quick question, right? You can play around with it. You can do thoughts. You can do quick question first name. You can do, XYZ. It doesn't really matter. But what I've seen in my experience is that quick question, like it works. So, why reinvent the wheel? Yes, it's very widely used, but The reason it works so well is because it opens up a curiosity loop, right? Once they see a quick question, they just have to open your email to see what's inside, even if they already know it's going to be an email pitch. So let me just do a live example. So I do hi, first name, right? And then for the first line, you have a few different options here, right? You can do personalization, you can do relevancy, you can ask them a question. But when it comes to a revenue-based offer or an offer that's helping them get new customers, the one that I like to go with a lot these days is just, are you accepting new business? Oh my God, guys, I'm literally sharing all my secrets. But yeah, this is the one that I use the most these days. And essentially, the thought process behind this is it gets them to keep reading because they start thinking that when they read this email, they start thinking that you're a potential client, you're a potential customer. So I just say, hey, are you accepting new business? Right. And then with the offer, let's just assume that we're doing a direct offer. We can say, we help US based plumbing companies get an extra, what, 3 to 5, I don't even know, I'd say 5 to 10 jobs per month. Now, I don't know exactly what would be a good number because I don't work with plumbing companies, but let's just assume 5 to 10 jobs a month is an ideal number for them. All right. And like I mentioned in my last video, there's a few different ways to structure your offer. Typically, the ones that I see really killing these days in terms of the pricing structure, the easiest two is going to be pay after you get results, right? Results first, then pay, or performance based. So let's say, for instance, this one is performance based, right? So I'll just say, and you only pay, and okay, wait, I'd say month 100% performance based, aka you only pay if you get results. And then I typically like to do a soft call to action. Now you can do a hard call to action, such as, would you be open to a call next week? But that's just not going to get the highest response rate, right? Because people, let's be honest, people don't want to get on a call with you. They don't like being sold to. So what I just do instead is a soft call to action just to get some replies. And then you can manage those replies right in the inbox and then try to book them on a call. And I typically see a lot more success with this. So I just do say, mind if I send more info, or I would do interested, or I could do what, mind if I share like that. Mind if I share more, something like that. So soft call to action. Then I do best, and then what, best JSON sending account name, whatever it is. You can also add a PS. PS. We recently helped XYZ customer get, and then you can add in your case like 20 jobs in the first 30 days. That's the way I'd write the copy. And then, okay, so when it comes to writing the first line, with local service-based businesses and a lot of other businesses as well, right? A lot of people like to personalize the first line, right? So they might hire a VA off Fiverr to do the personalization, or they might use an AI tool like quicklines.ai. And what I've seen in my experience is that honestly, personalization, it doesn't really matter. So if you want, you can split test it. So you can set up 2 identical campaigns, 500 leads in each, create one with personalized first lines and one without, and see what happens. But in my experience, there's literally zero difference. Actually, in my experience, sometimes the ones with no personalized first lines perform better than the ones with personalized first lines. Because the reality is, if you hire VA on Fiverr or use a software like quicklines.ai, both are going to give you pretty mediocre first lines, and it's just honestly not worth the effort. So the best way to do it is just use blanket personalization and call it a day. So for example, saw you were job title, saw you were the VP plumbing at xyzplumbers.com, right? Thought I'd reach out. And PS, if you do this, right, you're using the company name, make sure you reformat the company names. And what I mean by this is you're going to have companies like, I don't know, John's Plumbers LLC. You don't want to say at John's Plumbers LLC. You just want to say John's Plumbers, right? So we can do this is you can use an Excel sheet like this and just clean all the company names by pasting it here and use the trim, proper, and regex replace feature. So you see, for instance, Luke LLC, it's going to get trimmed, proper, and then it's going to get rid of the LLC. So just use a sheet like this. Okay, so now going over to the instantly.ai setup. So I'm going to make an example campaign just for you guys. So go to campaigns, add new. I'll just call this plumbers. Import leads, CSV. And obviously I didn't clean these leads, but let's just assume for the purpose of this video that I did clean them. Okay, wait a minute. I actually don't have the email because wait, no, I did. Okay. So yeah, I go here and select work email 1. Boom. And first name, last name. Okay, that looks good. Upload all. Okay, give me 1 second, guys. Okay, we are back. So let's give this one more try. Upload all. All right, it's gonna upload to campaign. And then when it comes to the email sequences, we can just use our copy that we wrote up earlier. So I'm gonna copy and paste this like that. And then I would typically do a really simple, just like 3-step email sequence. So maybe give this 2 days, right? And then this one would just be a bump. So hi, first name. Oops. Okay. Hi, first name. Oh, geez, come on. Okay, there we go. Saw you hadn't applied yet. Again, we work on a 100% performance basis. You get results or you don't pay. Jason. And then for the last email, I'll just make it like a really simple breakup email. So give this like 5 days. And I'll just say, hi, first name. Oh, come on. Come on, instantly. There you go. And then I would just say, assuming you were no longer interested in getting an extra 5 to 10 closed jobs per month with us, feel free to reach out when this changes. Love to work with you, Jason. And essentially, the way this email sequence works is email number 1 is going to be our offer. Email number 2 is going to be bumping it up in their inbox. And email number 3 is the breakup email. So with this breakup email, we're essentially leveraging their fear of missing out, or sort of like a scarcity tactic. So it's kind of like a pull away, and they go, oh crap, like, these guys, they're kind of taking their offer away. So it gets them to actually respond because they don't want to miss out on this deal. And what you typically see is that, yes, you'll get some responses from the first 2 emails, but a lot of times, email number 3, this is what it really takes to push people over the edge, and you're going to get a really good response rate on this breakup email. Now, you can do like a crazy long 10, 20 step email sequence, but honestly, 3 steps like this, so email number 1, the bump, and then the breakup email, most of the time, that's going to be more than enough. So then you go over here to options, right? And I've already connected a ton of accounts, so you can just pop them in like that, right? And then what I typically do is I like to just do open tracking. Yes, it can increase or it can decrease the deliverability by a little bit, but from what I've heard, it honestly doesn't really matter that much. Like, it's not really going to hurt your deliverability that much. And it is useful to know your open tracking rate, because you need to know if A, you have a valid list, right? B, if your deliverability on your emails is good. And C, you just want to know that people are opening your emails, right? Okay. So yeah, I'd keep this on, right? Maybe if things are going really, really well, open rate's fine. You've been running the campaigns for a few weeks, then you can turn it off and send as HTML only or text only, right? But in the beginning, just keep it on. And then daily sending limits. So it depends on how many email inboxes you have. Typically, what I would do is I would do 25 to 30 emails per email inbox. So let's say, for instance, we were wanting to send 500 a day, then I would do 25 email inboxes, right? You can just set it here, and then you click launch. And that's the way I'd set it up. Now, going over the campaign KPIs. So if it's going to be an online business or a professional services business where people actually check their email a lot, like a B2B SaaS or a consulting firm, then you want to shoot for above 60% open rates. However, if you're reaching to plumbers, then a lot of these guys, they might not necessarily be checking their email. So 40 to 60% open rate for a local business, that's more than good enough. And yes, you can check on the reply rate, you can check on the warm lead rate, but honestly, the campaign that matters the most is going to be the booked meeting rate. And it depends niche to niche. But I would say anywhere between 0.1% to 0.5% would be acceptable. Anything less than 0.1%, then yeah, you're kind of in trouble, but I would say this is acceptable. Now, going into the ROI breakdown, in terms of the tech costs, for Apollo.io, it's going to be like $19 a month. So with their plan right now, it's $99 a month. You just message their support, say, hey, I want to cancel my plan, it's too expensive. They'll give you the $19 a month plan. For LeadRocks, the lifetime deal is $80. Email verification, this is probably going to cost like $5 to be honest, right? Instantly.ai, this is $99 a month. You can build a landing page on card.co for $0. 4 domains is $48 a month, or $48 one time per year. And then if you get Zoho inboxes, it's just going to be $192 for the entire year. And again, the way I'm going to break it down is I typically do 25 to 30 emails per sending inbox. And then I like to do 3 to 5 inboxes per domain. So if you're going to send 500 emails a day, that's going to be 16 inboxes and 4 domains total. And this is a tutorial for another day. Okay, so yeah, in terms of costs, it's going to be like $448 in total. And again, this is like, most of these are, besides Instantly and Apollo.io, most of these are just one-time costs, right? So this is like literally for the entire year. Now, in terms of revenue generated, let's assume that you sent 20,000 emails with a 0.15% book rate, which is not bad, honestly. Okay, 0.15% book rate. So that's going to give you 30 book calls, right? With a 75% show rate, that's going to give you 22 demos. And with 22 demos at a 15% close rate, you're going to get 3 closes. Now, if you're selling a pay after you get results offer or a performance-based offer, your close rate is going to be much, much higher than 15%. But let's just assume 15% close rate. And if you're doing a $1,500 per month retainer times 3 closes, that's going to be $4,500 upfront. So not even including your customer lifetime value, the upfront return on investment is going to be at least 10x. And that's the power of cold email. So with next steps, what I would do is I would scale the winning angles. Like I mentioned, I would A/B test 3 different angles, 2 to 3 different angles side by side, figure out which one is printing the most meetings, and then whatever that one is, just kill the rest of the angles and only scale that winning angle. In addition to that, I would get more leads. So what you can do is you can use different lead sources, such as you can have a VA on Fiverr manually scrape some leads for you. You can try different countries, right? You can try different employee sizes. You can try different decision maker titles. And you can also use different lead scraping tools such as LeadHype if you were going to scrape LinkedIn. Another thing you can do is you can also just recycle leads after 3-4 months. So let's say you reached out to these guys 3 months ago, they weren't interested at the time. You can reach out to them again 3 months later, and they're not going to remember you or your email. So it's honestly not a problem, right? You can reach out to the exact same leads 3-4 months later, and you're going to get a ton of responses. The other thing you can do is drive traffic to your own audience. So let's say you get a ton of replies that just say, hey, I'm not interested. What you can do is you can message every single reply individually and just tell them, hey, no worries. If you like, I actually have a Facebook group where I drop weekly insights on solving the XYZ number 1 problem for XYZ niche. Would you like to join? And what you're going to do is you're going to slowly start to build up an audience that you can nurture, right? Either through your Facebook group or your YouTube channel. Now, I haven't 100% figured this out yet, but this mechanism is something that I'm really looking to leverage for both myself and my clients in 2023. And a last word of advice is just don't overthink it. Like it really seems that simple. Like it seems so simple that you can just launch 20,000 emails and get a 10x ROI, right? But that's actually how it works. Like it's actually that easy. So don't overthink it. Just launch it and see what happens. It is really that simple. So again, thank you guys so much for watching to the end of this video. I know it was a really long tutorial. So now it's my turn to ask a favor for you. So like I mentioned, my goal is to grow my audience in 2023. And that's why I'm asking, just, subscribe to the YouTube, follow me on Twitter so I can keep dropping value every single week for you guys. These videos have honestly been really, really enjoyable to make. And yeah, I'm going to definitely keep going and dropping more value. And also, if you'd like to see any more tutorials, just leave a comment in the comment section on what you'd like to see next. So again, thank you so much for watching, guys. I appreciate the attention and have an amazing rest of your day. Take care.